Wow, barely. Yeah, there's no way. Hello. How do I see that? Haroon? Malik? I think. Yeah, I was pretty close, but oh no, again. Dude, this game is actually pretty hard. Ah. Oh god, this is annoying, but it is fun. It's kind of like spicy food. It's like tortures you, yet you enjoy it for some reason. I actually recently found out why people enjoy spicy food. It's because, hello, N7, I don't even know how to say that, N7 but as I was saying, I recently found out that spicy food is addictive because the pain that it gives you, your brain releases dopamine afterwards to subset the pain you feel from the capsaicin, which is why people like spicy food, and I just found that interesting. What color am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna do yellow. This game is kind of hard to understand unless you know what's happening. It's not something like Tetris where it's like you can just look at it and kind of understand what's going on. So if you guys don't really know what's happening, I would just suggest looking up a Flood It game. Honestly, I love spicy food, but I understand people who don't like it because sometimes I'll get my nose running and it'll just be a terrible experience, you know? But I think it's good in moderation because spicy food, like when it's too spicy, it just loses all of its flavor and almost like tastes just like spice, and I hate that. So I understand people that don't like spicy food. I used to not really like spicy food, but it just comes down to a matter of what matters most in a food to you, I guess. I guess that doesn't really make much sense, but it does to me. I'm not sure how to explain it any better, honestly. Ooh. Yeah, that happened to me before too, actually. Oh my god, for 2 days? Okay, yeah, it wasn't that bad, but something on a lesser scale happened to me that was comparable to your experience. Oh god, that sounds terrible. Taste anything for 2 days? There's no way. 2 days of not tasting, that would suck. I think I would lose my mind, because I, like many furries, in the community, I am neurodivergent. Specifically, I have autism and ADHD, and due to my autism, I need to taste. Like, it's like my most important sense, because I get understimulated otherwise. Oh, your favorite candy, dude, that's terrible. I'm sorry for your loss. Oh my god, I think I might actually get it. I think I might actually get it this time. Hold on. Oh god, I need to lock in. No, wait, no, I don't think I will. Hold on. Maybe? Yeah, no, there's no way. Okay, never mind. I thought I was close for a second. Then I realized that I was wrong. No. Okay, I just gotta lock in. No! Oh my god, why? No, I was so close that time. Oh my god. Okay. I'm seriously locking in. I'm locking in so hard right now. Okay, blue. No, you're fine. You don't have any obligation to talk or stay on the stream, you know. I just want people to do whatever they want. Oh no, anything but that. I remember I used to play Roblox. It was like many years ago. But that's actually how I met some of the, like, one of my oldest best friends that I used to have. We recently stopped talking, but Roblox is where you meet the real ones, apparently, because that's where I met, like, a lot of my friends, actually. I used to meet a ton of people in Roblox. It was, I think it does, you know, the situation with, I already mentioned this in another stream, what's his face? I just remembered, and then I forgot, like, the Predator Catcher guy that got banned, the whole situation with him, honestly, it's not really surprising to me, because it's just Roblox. Oh my god, I was one away. Okay, that's enraging. But anyways, yeah, Schlep, thank you, Schlep. The situation with Schlep, it didn't surprise me at all, because I feel like Roblox has always been that way, and people are only starting to make a deal out of it now. I think it's honestly, I feel like it's being made too big of a deal, because, like, this has been a problem for the longest time. Like, why are people only now starting to be like, oh my god, Roblox is so bad, it's literally so bad, and it's like, yeah, this isn't a new development. Roblox has always been a place for predators to conjugate. It's like, it's congregate, not conjugate. Conjugate. I'm also dyslexic. Conjugate. But anyways, Roblox has always been a place for predators to congregate, so people that are, you know, talking crap about Roblox kind of just piss me off, because it's really stupid how, yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, they are particularly in Roblox, though. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not gonna act like Roblox is not a terrible place that's full of predators. But I will say that it isn't new, and we shouldn't be treating it like it is new, because it's just inappropriate to the people that actually have been, you know, groomed and, like, in the past, and now everyone is like, oh my god, Roblox is so bad, and it's like, I feel like maybe it was just the straw on the camel's back, because I know Roblox has received a lot of hate over the years for being such a, you know, terrible place with predators and stuff. However, I feel like it's only really, it's always been discussed, I guess. Like, it's unfair to say that, you know, no one ever talked about it before, because I guess it was really talked about, but not enough. I don't think the situation with Roblox's predators was ever discussed enough, and now it's being discussed too much, almost, to the point where it just becomes annoying, because it's like, I don't want to hear about it all the time. Like, I've known this forever. I mean, I guess it's fair to people that haven't been really involved with the Roblox community, because I'm sure there are a ton of people interested in the situation with Schlep that don't play Roblox or aren't interested in Roblox in any other way. Because if you think about it, it is really interesting how a game targeted towards children does, you know, have tons of, like, bad things going on. And the thing that's surprising about Roblox isn't the fact that there's tons of predators, because any game targeted, sorry, I'm probably not gonna play, because for a bit, whenever I have something to talk about, because it's better to just, like, keep my mind focused on one thing. I usually only have the playing in the background, or the drawing that I usually do, just so people don't get bored. But if I'm actively talking about something, I might as well make that my focus. So, as I was saying, it's not surprising that any game targeted towards children has a ton of predators, because, I mean, if you were a predator, where are you going to be going? You're going to be going to a kid's game. So, it's the first target. It's the first place that they go. So, it's not a surprise. But the thing is surprising is just the fact that Roblox handles it so terribly. They almost allow it. I won't say they allow it, but they almost kind of encourage it. Because if you think about it, obviously the fact that they banned Schlep, yeah, that was a big indicator that they are trying to protect the predators on their app. But the thing is that when you think about their user base, there is a reason that they're doing this. Because, yeah, UGC as well. But there is a reason they're doing this. There's a reason that they're protecting this part of their users. Like, I'm not sure why, but it does really intrigue me. The Schlep situation, not so much. I don't really care about that because it was kind of just giving a glimpse into what we already know about Roblox and its administration. Not really its administration, it's like moderation and it's, everything about Roblox. It didn't surprise me all that much. But what does surprise me is the fact that they're supporting them at all, because I think there has to be a reason, because maybe it's possible that they may be a significant portion of the user base. I would say that it's possible that there are more predators than actual children on Roblox. And it's hard to prove that because there are so many kids on Roblox. I mean, it would be hard to say that there's more predators than kids. Yeah, they're making money out of them. But the thing is, if they were making more money from the kids, then they would care more about the predators because they would want more kids on their app. And the best way to get parents to let their kids use Roblox is by having a safer app. I remember when I was younger and I wanted to play Roblox, and my parents, were suspicious about it. They didn't even want to let me play because they already knew about the whole thing. I know multiple people that aren't allowed to play, or not aren't, but weren't allowed to play Roblox when they were younger, purely because it was unsafe. And I feel that Roblox would have a lot more kid players, a lot more children playing their game if they handled the situation properly, because parents would feel more comfortable with allowing their kids to play a game that is for children that doesn't have tons of predators. And I'm thinking that the predators might actually be giving more money to the corporation than the children. And this does make sense, because if you think about it, there are a few ways that predators go about grooming. And there are different, methods that they use. A lot of the times, it's usually emotional. However, there are also instances where it can be financial. They can be, financially grooming kind of children. And what they do is they probably buy things for them. I'm assuming it's a mix of emotional and financial, but I think a big thing is that I also just tend to notice that a lot of predators I've seen on Roblox aren't rich. They don't have Robux. They usually don't. I have found a few that were rich, because I have come across a lot of predators on Roblox, especially when I was younger, but even when I was older and was still playing. But I just feel like Roblox would be making so much more money if they handled it correctly, do you understand what I mean? Because it would be such a larger player base. And I generally think that most predators aren't the biggest buyers. They aren't the most rich people on the platform. The richer people are the kids that beg their parents for Robux for Christmas and get $2,000 worth of Robux. Those are the people that I see being rich. So it's not the predators that's making the money for them. It's the kids. So why would they be protecting predators? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. And I think I might start doing ASMR documentaries. I think that would be a really interesting concept. I might host a poll about that later, because I would love to do documentaries, and I think doing it soft spoken or maybe whispered would kind of be interesting idea. Or I might just do normal documentaries. I mean, I could be an ASMR and like a documentary channel. Like, there's no reason I have to commit to one or the other. I can just do both. They have to have a reason, though. There must be a reason that they're protecting them, and that's what I want to know why. Because, I mean, the first thing that you're gonna think when it comes down to a corporation is money. It's always the first thing. That's always the most important. And from what I've seen, predators aren't. I've already discussed it, but it's just baffling. I'm genuinely trying to think right now too. I might do some research and like look into this because it is really interesting to me. But I also don't want to say something completely wrong and then be like, guys, the real reason why Roblox is protecting predators is because of XYZ. And it's like, what if it's not XYZ? What if it's something completely different, And then people are going to be like, hey, you said it was XYZ and you were wrong. And it's like, no, I have like people hating on my channel and whatever. So it's like, I don't want to make an assumption or make a guess and it be wrong. And then people come at me for it, So it's just risky in case I'm wrong. Or in case I say something completely dumb. Or in case I don't do enough research, I'm sure I'm going to get fact-checked a ton in the comments when I do it if I get, like, more than 1,000 views. I've only had, like, 3 videos hit 1,000 views. And, there's a 4th one that's near 1,000. But I think that if I did that, it might get some views. I mean, yeah, predictions are generally, because I think it's fair to make predictions and then be wrong, though, because it's like, how can you know? Roblox is such a large corporation. I'm sure that the real reason they're hiding it really, really well. Because I'm sure there would have been people that would have made documentaries about this way before me if it wasn't hid very well. So, I'm sure that I'm gonna be completely wrong no matter how much research I do. And I feel like that should be fine. I feel like people should just accept that. People should just accept that sometimes you're going to be wrong, and sometimes predictions aren't always correct, but you don't go off of the facts. You go off of what you can find. I can't always find the facts. Sometimes something I find may be incorrect. Something I find may be a partial truth. And something might be completely untrue. So it's hard to tell because you don't always have the right information. And plus, you go off of what you have, If I could go into Roblox headquarters and, see what's happening and, go, have access to, like, tons of information about the company and things that are hidden, then I'm sure I would be able to have a great prediction. But I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm not, like, a higher up who has access to all that information, I'm just some random person on the internet. It's not like have anything to really go off of other than what other people already have, But probably gonna keep playing because I'm not really sure what else to talk about. But I do like talking about this if you're like interested in what I have to say. But I'm just not sure what else to say at this point because I feel like I've got my point across. Ooh, I'm gonna have to go for green. Ooh, I think this might be the one. I think this is gonna be the one. Oh yeah, this is definitely the one. I like it too. I just think it's an interesting situation because you never assume that thank you. I have been I did come back after a while, like a very long hiatus. But I'm glad that when I came back, people didn't mind. I actually grew my subscriber count pretty fast. Which is a bit surprising to me. I check my subs every morning, and I've started getting a lot more than usual, so. But yeah, I appreciate all of my subscribers. Each and every one of them. I'm actually gonna go check to see how many I have right now. Let me see. I remember last time I checked it was like 213, 214. Yep, 216. Let's see. Blue, I think. I did want to make these kind of ASMR oriented because, you know, that is the topic of my channel. But it's hard to speak in a whisper or a soft-spoken voice for such long periods of time because I don't do short streams. I do quite long streams, so it would be hard to keep that consistent, you know? And it would be so much more disrupting if I randomly started speaking, like, normally. After speaking soft-spoken, it would probably wake people up. And then it would suck, so might as well just not do that. But, I mean, I might try to do, like, I feel like I could do that if I did shorter streams. Could be possible. But at the same time, the benefit of doing longer streams is that, I get to do more. You know, I get to have a bit more freedom. And, you know, it gives people more time to join in and to comment because there's really no point in watching a stream after it's already done. Well, when it comes out of my streams, maybe other people, but there's no really point in watching my streams after it's done because you don't really have the chance to interact with me anymore. I mean, you can see what other people said and you can see what I respond to that, but I mean, most of it, the biggest reason that I do my streams is so I can give people a chance to, you know, get to know me. And I think when it comes down to content creators, they don't do that enough. I feel like you should really get to know your user base, you know. And I think it's important. So, I like to give my subscribers a chance to do that. But, you know, once the stream's over, that chance is basically gone. And the times I stream are also pretty erratic, so I try to make up for it by making them longer. Usually like 30 to 60 minutes. Yeah, viewers are very important. I view all of my viewers. I see all of my viewers as important to me, everyone. So it's good to give them a chance to know me and, you know, vice versa, me, them. And it also kind of reminds people that I am a human. And, you know, I'm not just a bot behind a screen. I'm a human being. Because, you know, when you're able to actually talk to people, like in a stream like this, you can, you know, you can hear every time I stutter. You can hear every time I mess up a word. You can hear the imperfections when I speak. You can hear all of my, you know, incorrect grammar. You can hear all of that, all my mistakes. And it's important to remember that because when you're so used to being on a screen, people forget that you are human. And the best way to remind them is to be like, hey, I do make mistakes. You know, I can't post every single day. I have a life. And I think it's mostly coming down to expectations that they have of, like, posting and stuff. Because, I can't post every day. I usually post, like, I post, like, maybe 2 times every week. I post 2 videos right after each other about every week, and, you know, I don't want people to think that I'm just a bot that's just able to mass produce, like, tons of videos, like 15 videos a day. Like, I just can't do that. I just don't have the time for that. I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the patience for that. I don't have any of the traits needed that would be able to facilitate anything like that. And it's not like I've encountered people wanting me to do that, but I feel like it'll happen eventually. Yeah, people do tend to forget that. And honestly, I can't blame them. I can't blame people because even I do the same thing. Everyone does. It's hard because when you're behind a screen, it removes a large factor in communication, which is, physical presence. And when you don't look at someone and see that they're a human, it's really easy to just forget that, We forget that, when it comes down to the internet, there is so much variety, there is so much freedom, there is so much everything. And due to that, you're going to find everything on the internet because for every person that is interested in something, there is someone that hates it. For every person that is loving and kind, there is someone that is hateful and bigoted. For every person that is shy, there is someone that is bold. There is everything on the internet. There's every kind of person. There's every mix of interests. You will, on the internet, people are so much more abundant than they are in your local area. If you just go outside, you're not gonna find someone that's interested in everything that you are, it's gonna be really hard. If you're interested, if you're like a furry, for example, you're not gonna find a furry if you just go outside and you just walk around. You're probably not going to unless you live in an area where there's a lot of furries. So it's easier to find people like that on the internet. And when there are so many people and there are so many mixes of, there's so much diversity in the people on the internet, there also comes the dehumanification. Because once there's an abundance of something, it no longer has value. And this is, it sounds like I'm treating people like objects, but it's true. It's how value and demand, or not value and demand, what is it? Want and demand, whatever it is. Forgot. But, oh no, product and demand, what is it? It's like, how much of something there is. Sorry, sometimes I struggle to find the right words. Supply and demand. Okay. Supply and demand. And when there's such a high supply of people that are so diverse, the demand for finding the people that are so like you or that aren't is very much lower. So when that happens, people become less valuable because they're less rare. There's so many of them. There's so many types of them, So it's like, imagine if diamonds suddenly, imagine if you had a mine. You owned your own mine and you were a miner. And you could go to your mine and you could go mining yourself, but there's also a group mine right next to you. And in that mine, there is everything you could ever want. There are so many more, gems, there's different kinds, there's everything, and everyone else is mining there. So why would you mine in your own just because it's near you when you could go to the other one and you could get so much more value out of it? And at a point, those gems no longer are worth anything because there's so many of them. Those hidden gems, literally hidden gems, are no longer hidden or gems. They're not even gems anymore because a gem is something that's, a rock and valuable, usually. Not all gems are super valuable. But at that point, it would just be a shiny rock. It would have lost its meaning. It would have lost its beauty, its rarity, its value. It would have lost everything that made it a gem. And that's what happens to humans. We lose everything that makes us human once we enter the internet. And the best way to handle it is honestly just to not care. Because there's nothing you can do. You know, as a furry myself, I've been in the fandom for quite a long time. And due to that, I've faced a ton of hate. And, you know, I'm also in the LGBTQ. So, I've faced hate from every kind of person. I've heard it all. I've heard every slur. I've heard every insult. I've heard about everything there is to say. And honestly, it can be easy for some people, but for others, it's not. Because I used to care a lot. I used to care purely because, well, I kind of did and I kind of didn't. But it's more than just not caring about the individual people. It's more of when it's groups of people hating on you. Like, for example, let's say you post a video on TikTok and the entire comment section is just haters and there's not even one person supporting you. That is when it's hard to not care. Because then it's literally just like everyone's against you. No one is with you. But when it's just a few people like hating on you, it's just like, who cares? But if it's an entire group of people, that's when it's harder to care. I meant to not care. But honestly, I feel like it can apply to even friendships too, because it's harder to be friends on the internet because you lose, again, that factor of communication, the, being there in person, the presence. Once you lose that, it's harder to, you're not able to do fun activities together like you would be able to in real life. You're still able to do activities online together, but it's not quite the same. And it can be easier and harder to have friendships online for, numerous reasons. I'm not even going to get into it. But I don't know how I even got here. I don't know how I started talking about dehumanification or of people online. This has been a very interesting live for me. Maybe I'll actually want people to watch this because it kind of I feel like some people probably need to hear it. Especially because, I'm a furry ASMR channel, so the people who watch me are obviously gonna mostly be furries. But, I feel like people in my community, people in the furry community, really need to just remember that no matter how much hate you receive, it just doesn't matter. Because I've also posted on TikTok, to try to grow my following on different platforms. I wanted to test it out to do some, short form videos and see if anyone would, head on to my YouTube channel and actually like it. And on there, it was a ton of hate. I didn't really get many people supporting me. And honestly, the best way to respond to hate isn't even to ignore it, it's just to rage bait. I just think it's really funny, and I feel like there isn't enough rage baiting for furries. I feel like they usually are just like, oh, everyone hates furries, why do people hate furries? And it's like, good that people hate furries, because that's all the more people to make fun of. It's really fun. Please, guys, we need to be rage baiting more. It's the best. Because the thing is, it's mostly just kids that are furry haters. Like, let's just be honest. It's mostly children. And it's so fun to, make fun of children. When they say really ignorant, hateful things, it brings me joy from the bottom of my soul. For example, if they're like, oh, this is trash, just be like, ha ha ha, yo mama. And then it's like, it's not even funny. But that's the point. Because they're like, haha, that's not funny. And then you can just respond yo mama. And then they're like, dude, that's literally not even funny. Such an old joke. Yo mama. If you just keep saying the same thing, they'll eventually get bored. And they'll probably just, Stop. I know. Fucking little Timmy. Oh, hey, I'm pretty sure that was my first time swearing on this channel. Clip that, chat. Clip that. Clip that. Teacup ASMR said F word. I don't intend on having a family-friendly lives because I just, like, I swear too much. I feel like it would be hard for me to never swear, and then it would be a whole big thing if I did swear after, like, not doing it for the longest time, and I just don't want that to be a thing. I don't want drama when I do inevitably end up slipping up. I don't know how people do it, honestly. I think it's really, I genuinely think it's a talent to be able to have a channel and a following for that long and not swear a single time. Like, oh my god, how much dedication does one need to be able to achieve that, you know? I would never be able to do that. I mean, I feel like I could, but it would just be really challenging and not worth it because, I mean, I wouldn't really be gaining anything. If anything, I would be losing. I would be losing out on the ability to articulate and express myself fully. Because, I mean, swear words, they're words that you use to express yourself, you know, they're emotional words. And, you know, if I'm like playing Geometry Dash or something and I'm like, fuck, you know, like that's just because it's better, you know, to swear than to just like be violent or something, you know? Like, what else am I supposed to do? Like, frick! Oh, frick, I lost in Geometry Dash. Oh, frick, oh, frick. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I have standards, you know. I don't care about my, I don't care about making furry ASMR, but when it comes down to saying, like, childish words, like, it's just, it's too much for me, I think. Ooh, I think nope, no way. I did get to 22 turns on a win. That was pretty good. But I'm probably gonna end the live because it's been like 45 minutes. But I will be doing another one pretty soon here. But yeah, goodbye, everyone.